So I'm Kira Landicho and I study 4 A-levels. So I do physics, maths, English language and economics.
My name is Rohan and I am in year 13 studying physics, maths, further maths and chemistry. Well, physics was always sort of a high priority for me because I knew that I wanted to go into further studies in engineering, and physics is almost a build-up towards that course at university, so that was part of the reason. And I think maybe another reason was because it sort of develops you as a sort of all-rounded problem solver, which is quite an important skill when you're going into STEM subjects in the future.
When I was picking my options, I didn't know what I wanted to do as a career, but I think physics, it opens a lot of doors regardless of what career you want to do. You know, I know people who go on to do finance or business after they go and study physics, but it's mainly the skills that you learn. I know that, you know, unis and employers, they like physics because it shows that you've got perseverance, you've got hard work, you've got teamwork. So I wanted to do it because I know that wherever I go down, whatever path I go down, I know that the skill's going to be really useful for it, and I'm glad that I picked it because I found it really interesting anyway. I guess you start off with looking over what you did last lesson and kind of going just a bit of a recap, and then you go on to learn about the new concepts about whatever topic you're on to, and you'll have a bit of a class discussion, you'll look at questions, and then sometimes at the end you'll do exam questions. So maybe you'll do it as a group, maybe you'll do it on your own, and then afterwards you go over it with the teacher and they'll help you out with anything that you found difficult.
So typically in a week's worth of physics lessons we'll have certain topics that we go through from the specification. There's around 9 overall topics, and they're sort of broken down into weekly lessons. In a week's worth of lessons we'll have certain notes that we have to make, and from those notes we look at certain examples and sort of play around with certain equations and things like that, apply them in different ways.
I think the best thing is that you definitely see the world differently. Physics, I think, is a really fundamental part of how the world works, and suddenly you look at something and you think, oh, I know how that works. Or you can go to your friend and say, oh yeah, I'll tell you a little bit about how that works. But it definitely makes you see the world in a different way. I think that, you know, you find more interest in the world, and I think also you kind of care for the world a bit more. And also I think in terms of the actual subject, you get to work with people a lot. It's very collaborative, and I quite enjoy that myself. So yeah, physics definitely it's a jam-packed course, but you get to do a lot of things which are really interesting.
Well, I'm quite a mathsy person, so I quite enjoy the maths aspect of physics, whether it's, you know, playing around with more complicated equations or things like that. And I think one of my favourite topics recently has been astrophysics. There's a lot of maths involved in that topic and memory work as well, so it's quite enjoyable.
Yeah, I think for physics actually the teachers are really available 24/7. They're always there. If you need to answer a question, then you can email them. But also they give you a lot of resources. You know, you've got textbooks, you've got booklets that they print out for you, you've got questions that they, you know, give you to do in class as well as outside of class. So they're always, you know, working on your development, your growth as a student, but they're always there to support you 24/7.
Physics is actually quite an independent subject in terms of the exam-based content is sort of very much, you have to learn the content but then apply it, and the application comes primarily from yourself. So it's mainly the process of building you up as a character, as a problem solver, that allows you to perform well in the exam. So the teachers, they can go through certain examples on the whiteboards and things like that, whether it's certain things like some admissions questions that we've done previously for uni applications, or certain more difficult exam questions and things like that. So I've always had sort of a clear vision as to what I want to do after college. It was always going to be engineering or physics for me. I've leant more towards engineering, perhaps more so sort of the practical applications of engineering is a bit more appealing to me. So I'm going to be studying engineering at Oxford, and it's a general engineering course, so everyone does the same thing, 2 years of all maths and physics principles, and then after that I've sort of built my interests towards mechanical engineering, but I do want to explore all different types so that at that 2-year mark I can sort of get the right choice and sort of dive into what I want to study after.
Yeah, so I'm moving on to an apprenticeship after college. I'm going to be doing civil engineering down in Oxford as a degree apprenticeship, as well as going to uni. And yeah, physics is going to be really helpful in that directly, but also with the skills I'm going to be working in an environment with a lot of different people. So I think working collaboratively, it's a big part of physics and it's going to be really helpful for me.